right? You figure out that you're in a relationship or you have a connection with a narcissist, whether it's family, parents, or other relatives, or just a romantic relationship. So you figure out that you are in contact with a narcissist. But after living months or even years with them, you start to wonder, how are they even formed? What's their origin? And this is what we're going to discuss in this video, so stay here. Hello everyone, I'm so excited to see you again. This is your quantum narcissistic abuse recovery coach, mentor, and energy healer. My name is Elisaveta, and I'm here to not only help you heal from narcissistic psychological abuse, but also develop and just rise into the life that you want to live to the fullest, to become your best version of yourself. So if you are into mental health, psychology, and spirituality, metaphysics, the combination of the Eastern and Western approaches and modalities, I invite you to click down below to subscribe and keep watching, because this is getting interesting. So today we're going to talk obviously in what is the origin of the narcissist, because I think this is a really interesting topic to really dive deep into. And you might have thought previously that the narcissist is formed because they usually have, like a family that allows them to do whatever they want, a family that allows them to really just live their lives without any boundaries. And this have some bits of truth, but it's not entirely that. And I got 6 points, which I want you to know now, to be more informed about this. So I think we can start with the first point, which is obviously emotional neglect. And this also happens to a child of narcissistic parents or scapegoat. The only difference is, obviously, as you might already know, is that the scapegoat is not becoming the narcissist. But in the case of a narcissist, they also experience emotional neglect, and they have a situation, for example, that the child is hurt, and instead of receiving care and affection from the parent, they are told something like, stop crying, you're so sensitive. So what the child does when this happens is that they develop a false sense of superiority and confidence, and they really get their validation with external achievements instead of doing this emotional work in themselves, because their parents obviously don't teach them that. This emotional neglect from the parents, it teaches the children to avoid being vulnerable because their emotions are not important for the parents, and so the child really thinks that is the same for the world outside of the house. And so the child develops this false sense of confidence, and to avoid feeling hurt and to avoid feeling rejection ever again. Another one is excessive criticism, when the parents are usually very, very competent in, for example, work, and very ambitious. They might project this into their children, and they expect the parents are very strict, and they expect the children to be very ambitious and always perform like the best. So they are super critical of these children. And because, again, the child is not being accepted, the child develops this super sense of self-worth. Again, it's a false one, because what they're hiding is their deep insecurities and self-doubt. And this sense of self, this false mask, is that they are actually trying to prove their worth. That's why when they become adults, and also in teenage years, they constantly try to fight with others, because they try again to validate themselves with external situations and people. And again, I almost forgot, but this happens when the parent is constantly comparing the child to other children, and they might say phrases like, why can't you be like this other kid? Why can't you get the same grades or even higher than this kid? Another one that we must also take into account is obviously inconsistent parenting. And again, I must emphasize that while this can be the same case for the scapegoat of a narcissistic family or narcissistic parents, it doesn't mean that the scapegoat becomes the narcissist. But in the case of a narcissist in making, to call it like that, they usually have a parent or the two parents that they are inconsistent with their love and affection with their parenting. One day the father or the mother, one day they decide to show love and be super affectionate, and the other day they just neglect them, ignore them. And so what the child learns on this is basically that relationships are unstable, inconsistent, and they cannot trust people. And this makes the child in teenage years, as they grow up, and then in adulthood, to develop these manipulative behaviors to try to stay connected, to manipulate and to control people into not having, obviously, their own sense of self, and to not leave them. And of course, conditional love. When the parents only focus on achievements, external things, external wins, the child learns that the only way that they can be loved and accepted is by external things. So they become super achievers and they suppress any other flaws or vulnerabilities in themselves, again with this false mask that they create when they're between children and teenagers. Now, in the second case of the reasons of why a narcissist is born, actually not born in this case, but made, is, for example, physical abuse. They develop narcissistic traits in order to hide their vulnerabilities and to appear strong and in control. Obviously, this also includes unresolved pain, because this now grown adult narcissist will use manipulation and gaslighting to blame others for their trauma instead of actually taking deep into themselves and analyzing what traits they're actually afraid of what they are becoming. The third cause and reason is genetic predisposition. If the family, let's say, has already many people with personality disorders, and we combine the abuse that happens to the child, now this kid might also develop personality disorders such as narcissistic personality disorder as a way to cope and to survive, and then to crave this external validation from other people as well. Now, the fourth reason that I would add is also society, culture, social media, because as we see, society has this way of really encouraging this really quick rewards, and when the narcissist manipulates and controls people, this usually happens with really almost instant results when people comply to the narcissist. So they obviously have more reasons to keep, with their behavior again and again. Now the fifth one, and stay till the end, because the sixth one, the last one, is really interesting and not many people mention it. But the fifth one is obviously coping mechanisms. As I already mentioned, the narcissists don't want to reflect on themselves, on their wounds, on their past, because it's very painful. So what they do is, again, to develop this false fake mask to create this persona in order to view themselves as something that they always wanted to be, in a healthy way, but what they didn't get. And obviously they have a ton of insecurities, so this is the way that they hide it. Do they want to change? Again, don't confuse a scapegoat with a narcissist. Even though they might have similar backgrounds, they are not the same, because the scapegoat, the victim, the kid, usually wants to change, and they will change, and they will do anything in their power to heal from this complex PTSD. The narcissist, they do not. And so another reason obviously is a golden child can also be developed into a narcissist. It's actually way easier because the parents act as enablers for the manipulative and controlling behavior of the kid. So obviously, if the child is a golden child, if the child fulfills the role of the golden child in the family dynamic, it's way easier for them to develop into narcissistic personality disorder. Now, the last reason I want to tell you about, and what society usually doesn't understand, is we have a lot of entity attachments, we have a lot of parasites. This is an energetic issue, and with lots of diseases and with lots of illnesses, especially mental illnesses, what I found within myself, I had to heal myself a lot. I also help a lot of clients with this. So what I found is usually we have energetic cords with entities and astral parasites manipulating us, and so we need a lot of energetic and emotional healing in order for these cases to fully heal. Now, you might be asking yourself, can a narcissist be healed if you apply energy healing? And I would say no, because they don't want to. For healing to happen, the person needs to actually have a will to change. If this person has no will to change, no amount of healing will actually, like in the large majority, 99.9% of cases, will convince the narcissist to actually change and start living a different life, and to start actually seeing into their path, into their past. So this is basically the answer. This is the end of the video. Hope you really enjoyed it. If you want to see more topics, don't forget to subscribe for more. Let me know in the comments what you think, if you had similar experiences, if you had like family, relatives, or relationships where you met the narcissist. And if you're ready to heal from complex PTSD, I have a 3-month program, Becoming Phoenix, where you will heal from all these wounds. You will do like the majority of the work you will do below, instead of wasting years of talking-based therapy that unfortunately it's not helping much for what I found and what I researched, and as well as the rest of links to connect. So hope you really enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching, and we see each other in the next one. Bye.